First of all, Ruth, can I say how lovely it is to see you? But I've got to say, I hope you don't mind. I know you're part of this person's house. I know he's extremely famous. Keep out the shot. You'll be all right. If you get in the shot, they'll know who you are. I'm sorry, Ruth. I mean it.
Oh, no.
Just because you're famous. Sorry.
No,
How are you?
I'm great. I'm fantastic.
Ruth McCartney.
Pete Price.
Pete Price. Oh my God.
We were trying to figure out today. We are at an undisclosed location, and we were trying to figure out today where did we meet? Oh, obviously it was Liverpool. But
You were a little girl. Don't forget that. You were always a little girl, because there's a huge age difference in us both. And you were a little girl that I was besotted with because I fell in love with your mum. And if I was a straight man, I would have married her. But I'm not.
If she was a straight woman, she would have married
She
him.
would as well, yeah. I fell in love with you. I loved you. I loved your personality. I loved your charisma. I think the first time we met was in Heswell.
Yeah.
And of course, you were living at Rembrandt.
Yep.
With Jim.
Yep.
And I just liked you. I thought you were great. But the two of you, your mum and you, have got this amazing magic, which you're my type of people. So I think that's how we met. And it must have been 130 years ago.
I wanted to say 147, but the time is being kind.
Yeah.
And you and your mum had a great magic too. Hilda was...
Yeah, I lost my mum many, many years ago, but I found my real mother.
You were adopted,
I
right?
was adopted.
What's that like when you find out you're adopted?
I've got to tell you briefly the story, because this great story. My mother, I found my mother. It took me 2 months. You hear these stories. It took me 2 months to actually find my mother.
It's not long.
But then she told me my father was a Polish-American GI. And I went on an English television show with Esther Ranson about 6 months later, because she had a photograph of him. And she said, you know, told me the history of him, and I rang her up one day and I said, listen, you better not watch television tonight, because I'm going to talk about my father, because I'm trying to find him. And she went, I'm so sorry. I told you a lie. What do you mean you told me a lie? Your father's not a Polish-American GI. I went, you are taking the mickey, please tell me no. I'd spoken to Oprah Winfrey about going to America. We had detectives looking for him over there. We couldn't find him and everything. So I said, who was my father? She said, who was my father? So she said, he was an Italian prisoner of war, went over the fence, gave her one and went back. So that was so that's my father.
He gave her one, he gave her the right one. I had a similar story. That my father, Jim McCartney, adopted me. My father turned out to be not who my real father was. And I always ask Ange, I asked my mum, you know, who was my father? And she always says some soldiers, so I'm not quite sure.
And I do that in my act as well.
Do you?
Funny, yes.
Are you going to wear the fishnets and do the act after this?
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic.
No, I don't do drag anymore.
Do you?
I used to do Barbara Streisand, you've seen the nose. So you've done so well for yourself.
Well, we've tried. We've been around the world and I, in the words of Lisa Stansfield.
And I'm still in Liverpool.
Well, but you're a megastar and I'm just a housewife.
As I say in my act, well, I always introduce my act like this. I have a radio show with 750,000 listeners. I have a television show with 2 million people on it. And I'm extremely famous. It's just here you've never heard of me.
Here in Colorado.
Here in wherever we are, on this webcam,
Please.
looking there, looking out at you.
We should actually start on iFriends.com. We should start a Where in the World is Peter Price? And people can phone in or email in and guess where you were.
Absolutely. And there is a Pete Price magician.
No.
Yes.
You've got stalkers, you've got magicians, you've
Don't
got
start me
agents,
on my stalkers. Don't start me on my stalkers.
So now, tell me about this new radio station, this new radio show that you're starting in January.
It's on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Radio City 96.7 in Liverpool, and you can get it worldwide. If you go to my website, which is peteprice.com, on my forum you'll see 2 slots at the top to click into it, or go to the Radio City forum and hear it. You're going to be doing something with me, I hope, which we'll talk about in a second. It's a great show, not because of me, it's a great show because it's a phone-in, and it's exciting phone-in. And anything happens. I know America has huge phone-ins, but I'll just give you 2 brief stories. A year ago, last week, I walked out of my show, excuse me, must get a hotel room. A year ago, I walked out of my show because a 10-year-old boy was going to commit suicide. And I saved his life, which was fantastic. And it was something that just happened to me. This year, a man died on my program, actually died in mid-conversation. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know he died, but I knew something was wrong because his name was Terry. He was a bigot, he was a racist, he was horrible, but he was great radio. And we always had him on regularly. And he used to be on with Nora and Rita. Nora is living in the past. Rita has black children and has had a lot of problems in her life. So the three of them are on together. I knew he wanted to go on this program, so he came on, but something happened. I rang the police. The chief constable in Liverpool is a friend of mine. I rang the police and asked them if they'd go and check him out. Wow. They said no.
What?
I rang again. They said no. So I walked out of my show. Wow. We broke into his house with a neighbour, and he was dead with the phone in his hand.
Oh my goodness.
And we made every national newspaper.
Oh,
so anything can happen on the phone in. It's amazing.
Anything can happen on the radio.
And anything can happen with your amazing websites.
Well, you know, we're going to go to, we travel a lot with McCartney.com. We're in Las Vegas and Scottsdale and Phoenix, and this year we're going to Montreal and Manchester and Liverpool and all over the place. So I'll be phoning into your radio show every Tuesday if I'm still invited. If you'll still,
you are indeed.
If you hear the pip 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 in the phone box, will you ring me back?
No, we're paying for the call.
I know.
We are paying for the call. But it's going to be interesting because people out there can contact us.
Yeah.
And be part of it. And I have a guy on the radio called Jim who lives in Chicago, and he lives in England. His family lives in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
They listen to him every Monday.
Well,
so you've got to tune in.
When I'm at home, I live in Los Angeles, and I listen to you on the radio as well.
Well, my show is 10 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning English time. Okay. Which makes it...
Anywhere in... if it's night time in Italy, it's Wednesday over here, isn't it?
It's absolutely... What?
This
is without drugs.
I know.
This is fantastic.
It's one Heineken, 2 straws.
How many ones?
That's 3 Heinekens, he's everyone's.
Absolutely. By the way, it's so nice to be working so soon after Christmas. Cheers.
Cheers, absolutely. And come and look at peteprice.com, McCartney.com, iFans with a Z, IFANZ.com. You'll find all of us there.
Please explain what that is.
iFans, I couldn't put it any better than John Cleese does, but iFans is something that I put together with my husband and my mum, because, you know, my mum and I used to run what was originally the Beatles fan club. We started from the dining table in Rembrandt, the house you mentioned before, in Liverpool, and we used to get all this fan mail from all over the world. And I was trained as a kid to make pocket money, 50 pence a week, hey big spender. And they'd say, all right, well, these are all from Japan and China, so put them on the dining, you know, on the windowsill over there, because that's the Far East. These are from Australia and New Zealand, put them in a box and put them under the table, because that's down under. So I learned as a young child to, you know, to really sort of sort fan mail out. And then when technology came along and we learned all about the internet and building websites and so on that we've been doing for 11 years, I thought, well, gosh, there's got to be a better way for people, celebrities, chefs, entrepreneurs, businesses to manage and deal with their fan base. And so iFans was born, and it's basically a place where you go, you join for free, you get a password, you log in, and you can manage all of your lists and your databases, and you can send this email to that bunch of people. If you've got people in Leeds, hey, I'm appearing in Leeds on Wednesday, you send it just to Leeds. If you're going to be in Chicago, you send it just to the Chicago list. So it's a real great way of not having to lick stamps all day long, go to the post office and figure out who's who. And because it's online, you could be here at this undisclosed location and go upstairs to Celebrity X's computer and say, you know, I want to log into my iFans account and go and manage all your fan mail.
Exciting idea.
Well, we've got 2 million members and we're growing. So.
Well, I haven't got that. But I will tell you one thing. If you want to actually ring us, you ring in to us on the phone in, we'll ring you back, so it won't cost you any money. Excuse me a second. I know, Lord of the Rings was brilliant. Go away. See, they're trying to get in.
I know.
Trying to get in.
I know. They'll be wearing that monkey costume next. Yes. You know what they're like.
Unbelievable.
It's terrible.
So that's it. That's Ruth McCartney.
And that's Pete Price.
And we've enjoyed your company.
Thanks for having us.